As an accounting manager, I have reviewed a lot of entry-level accounting resumes, and there are a few common mistakes I keep seeing. So in this video, we're going to go over the top 5 resume mistakes that are keeping you from getting an interview, and I'll show you exactly how to fix them. Hi, my name is Kelly Randolph. I have worked in accounting for over 10 years now. I have worked at both Fortune 200 and Fortune 500 companies, and I've also worked for both public and private companies, and I am currently a financial reporting manager. Before we get into the mistakes, I quickly want to talk to you about why a resume is so important. Your resume is so important because it is the first step to getting a job. A lot of people think, well, I have the education requirement, so getting a job should be easy. Well, unfortunately, that is not the case in a competitive job market. The first step to getting a job is having a strong resume where you showcase that you are the right candidate for the position. Without a strong resume, you can apply to as many jobs as you want and still not get any interviews, which I know can be extremely frustrating. So let's make your job search easier by helping you get started on the right foot and avoid these resume mistakes. The first mistake I see is using a resume template that is way too aesthetic. What I mean by that is using colors other than black, section lines with different thicknesses, unique looking bullet points, and formatting that is more decorative than professional. And I specifically want to call out the line thickness being inconsistent because I see this a lot. One section divider will be extremely bold and one section divider will be thinner, and it makes the resume look super inconsistent. That might seem small, but in accounting and finance, details matter. Your resume is one of the first examples of your work that a hiring manager sees. If you are applying to an accounting or finance role, simple wins every single time. Now, I know it might not be as aesthetic and it might look boring, but trust me, it's better. Mistake number 2 is inconsistent formatting. This includes things like missing periods, different bullet styles, inconsistent spacing, switching between past and present tense, and typos. For example, if one bullet point ends in a period, then all your bullet points should end in a period. If one bullet point does not end in a period, then all your bullet points should not end in a period. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, you just want them to be consistent. Same thing with bullet points. If you're using a circle bullet, use circle bullets throughout your entire resume. Don't mix between a circle bullet and a square bullet and a decorative bullet. Just keep them all the same. This also applies to the tense. If you are talking about a past job, use the past tense. It should say assisted, prepared, processed, reconciled. If you are talking about your current job, use the current tense. Assist, prepare, reconcile. And of course, no typos. It's crazy how many resumes I see with typos. I know this might seem picky, but accounting managers 100% notice this. When we have 20 candidates that all look extremely qualified on paper, hiring managers begin to look for reasons to narrow down the applications. If your resume has inconsistent formatting, missing periods, mixed bullet styles, or typos, those can be the things that get you moved from the bring into interview pile to the no pile. Not because you are unqualified, but because your resume is already demonstrating lack of attention to detail. And in accounting, attention to detail is everything. I wanted to go over an example that I found on Canva under their resume templates. A lot of the resume templates on Canva actually did look really bad, in my opinion, but I just picked one of them to show you what I was talking about. So we're just going to quickly go over all the bad things on this resume so you know what not to do. I didn't change any of the details, so this resume represents a nursing position opposed to an accounting or finance position, but that's really not the point. The point is we're going to look at the formatting that looks bad and what you shouldn't be doing on your resume. As you can see, they're using multiple colors. They didn't just use black. When you're creating your resume, do not use multiple colors. Do not format it to the company that you're applying to. Just use black. You can see that the LinkedIn profile is hyperlinked. Oftentimes when you're applying to an accounting position, a finance position, probably any position in general, the way your resume comes through is in a PDF format. When we're printing out your resume, if it just says LinkedIn, we can't click on that. If we're looking at it on a computer and it's in PDF format, we can't click on the hyperlink. The hyperlink is disabled. So it just says LinkedIn essentially. So if you want to put LinkedIn on your profile, actually put in your LinkedIn profile address. So, LinkedIn.com/in/ whatever your LinkedIn is. Or just don't include your LinkedIn. That's really optional. It's up to you. Personally, on my resume, I just have my name, my phone number, my email address. That's it. You don't need your actual address. And here you can see when I'm talking about line thickness, you can see they start the resume with a thick line, then they go into thin lines, and then they go into another thick line. It doesn't make sense. It's a distraction. Why is this line bold? Why is this line thin? You don't want a hiring manager to be thinking about these things. You just want them to be focusing on your experience and the value on your resume, not the distractions. Next, you can see the bullet points are inconsistent. They have circle bullet points and they also have square bullet points. This is what I'm talking about. A lot of people do this actually. They have different bullet points throughout their resume. Just don't do that. It's not necessary. Just pick one bullet point and stick with it. I highly recommend a basic circle bullet point. That will do great. You can also see that some of these sentences end with periods and some of these sentences don't have periods. If you're ending a bullet point with a period, end all bullet points with the period. Going on, you can see that their resume experience is not in chronological order. When you are doing your resume experience, you really don't want the hiring manager trying to look through your resume and see which position did you do when. They should all just be in chronological order, beginning with your most current position and then working your way backwards. Another thing that this person is doing that is bad, and this I also do see a ton, is using two different fonts. Always use the same font. Don't make one paragraph Calibri and the next paragraph Times New Roman. Just keep them the same. The final thing that I do want to call out on this resume as a don't is don't provide your favorite hobbies on your resume. I don't know where this career advice is coming from, but recently I've been seeing a lot of college students adding their hobbies on their resume, and it's really not a good thing to do because it just comes off as fluff. A hiring manager does not want to see that you like basketball or that your favorite TV show is Game of Thrones. It's just not pertinent to the resume. Just keep all the information on your resume relevant to the position that you're applying to and keep it professional. I will now quickly show you the accounting resume example that I had put together just to show you what I actually like a resume to look like. In this example, you can see it's just a super simple header. This resume would be an example of a college student resume particularly. And we're going to start with the education section. Then we're going to go into a professional summary. You can see all the bullet points are the same and the experience is also presented in order. You can see that the bullet points all end in the appropriate tense. In this example, the bullet points do not end with periods, which is totally fine. And then also in this example, you would ignore where it's calling out the soft skill that you're demonstrating. This is solely just for example purposes. If you are interested, you can download this resume template in the description of this video if you want to use it as a reference when you're creating your own resume. If you are finding this video helpful so far, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It lets me know that you like this type of accounting career content. Okay, mistake number 3 is not having a professional summary. Now, I know some people who give resume advice tell you not to include a professional summary and they say that it's fluff or generic and doesn't add value to a resume. As a hiring manager myself, I completely disagree with that advice. I think a professional summary is actually a really good addition to your resume, especially if you are a college student, recent college graduate, or career switcher. The reason being is because it gives the person reviewing your resume a high-level summary of where you are at in your career, the type of position you are looking for, and an overview of how your skills relate to the position. For instance, in my example resume, I included a professional summary that states, detail-oriented accounting graduate seeking a staff accountant position where I can apply my accounting knowledge and Excel skills to support and add value to the accounting team. I have strong time management and communication skills, enabling me to stay organized, meet deadlines, and perform effectively. To me, this is not fluff. It says you are organized, you meet deadlines, and you know Excel, which are all very valuable things in accounting. If you are a recent college graduate and you do not have a lot of accounting experience yet, a professional summary is a good way to fill space on your resume with relevant information. For a career switcher, a professional summary is also useful because it calls out the elephant in the room. For example, maybe your experience has been in marketing, operations, customer service, or another field, and now you are trying to move move into accounting. Without a professional summary, the hiring manager may look at your resume and wonder, why is this person trying to apply for an accounting position? A professional summary helps make that clear. It tells the hiring manager this is intentional. I'm a professional with experience in another area, but now I'm seeking an accounting role. And here are the skills that I have that are relevant to this position. So for a career switcher, it can be a nice place to quickly summarize your transferable skills and help connect the dots for a hiring manager. However, professional summaries are not always necessary for everyone. For example, my personal resume does not have a professional summary. The reason is because I don't need one. All my experience is directly relevant to an accounting role, so I do not want to use space on my resume to have a professional summary. My rule of thumb is if you're a college student, a recent college graduate, or a career switcher, a professional summary can be helpful. If you already have strong, relevant experience to the role you are applying for, you don't need one. Your experience section should already tell the story of why you are qualified for the position. Mistake number 4 is not tailoring your resume experience to the position you are applying for. This is probably one of the biggest resume mistakes that I see. A lot of people list their responsibilities, but they do not explain their experience through the lens of the position that they are applying for. And this is especially important when you are applying to your first accounting position, because your experience may not look exactly like accounting experience yet. The way I recommend doing this is by going on LinkedIn and looking at accounting jobs that you want. If you are trying to get an entry-level accounting job, you could type in entry-level accounting job, staff accountant, junior accountant, accounting associate. Then read through several of the job postings and look for commonalities. For example, you may notice that a lot of entry-level accounting jobs are going to be looking for things like organization, attention to detail, accuracy, the ability to prioritize tasks, time management, Excel skills, and teamwork. Once you start noticing those patterns, you want to look at your own experience and ask yourself, where have I demonstrated these skills already? So first, let's talk about accounting students and recent college graduates. If you are an accounting student or recent graduate, you may be thinking, I do not have accounting experience yet. But that does not mean you don't have anything relevant on your resume. You may have different class projects, group projects, internships, or a part-time job. Maybe you worked in retail, maybe you were a server in a restaurant. The key is to explain your experience in a way that connects back to the accounting positions that you are applying for. So let's say that you are a server. A lot of people would write something like serve tables, but that's not really useful when an accounting manager is reading your resume and trying to see how you would fit into this accounting position. Instead, you want to frame your experience through the skills of the accounting job. You could write, manage multiple tables simultaneously in a fast-paced environment while maintaining accuracy and delivering a high level of customer service. That is much stronger. Now, if you are a career switcher, I want you to think about this a little differently. A lot of career switchers actually have very transferable experience to accounting positions, but they do not recognize it because they are not thinking about their experience through an accounting lens. So if you are coming from another industry, I do not only want you to think of your experience as soft skills. Those are all important, but I want you to think more about the technical parts of your experience. For example, have you used Excel in your current role or previous role? Have you analyzed differences ever between actuals and what was budgeted or expected, and had to think about the variance between the two data points? Have you ever reviewed a report, tracked numbers, or explained why something has changed month over month? Have you ever had to input data into a system and be accurate with the data that you are inputting? Have you ever worked with invoices, a budget, expenses, sales reports, payroll, inventory, operations reports, or think about any time that you are working with something involving numbers? A lot of career switchers have done stuff like this, but because it is not directly called accounting, they dismiss it. But that experience is still extremely relevant to accounting positions. For example, maybe you worked in operations and reviewed reports to understand why labor costs were higher than expected. That is not technically accounting, but you are still analyzing numbers, identifying variances, and explaining business results. Or maybe you worked in customer service or administration and had to enter customer payments, track billing information, update records in a system, or reconcile information between reports. That may not technically be called accounting, but it does involve accuracy, data entry, systems, systems, and reconciliations, which are all very relevant skills to accounting jobs. The more I work with my clients, I am seeing how a lot of people are having trouble looking at their experience and writing it through an accounting lens. And the more I am seeing how many people have accounting transferable experience that they are not recognizing, and they are downplaying their experience when they really should be emphasizing their experience and how relevant it actually is to accounting positions. If this is something that you think that you might need help with, I have now created an accounting career starter program where we connect and talk about your goals, your experience, and then we create your resume together so you can confidently apply to accounting jobs. If this is something you are interested in, definitely check the link in my bio or description of this video. Mistake number 5 is putting the sections of your resume together in the wrong order. This is something I see a lot, and the reason it matters is because it can make your resume look unorganized. You want to organize your resume with the information that best aligns to the accounting position. So the right order really depends on where you are at in your career. If you are a college student or recent graduate, I recommend starting your resume with the header. So this would be your name, your phone number, your email address, your LinkedIn, which is optional, or your location, so the town you live in and your state. Then you should put your education section next. You can include your GPA if you have a high GPA, but if you don't have a strong GPA, I would not include your GPA. And if a hiring manager is really interested in knowing your GPA, they will ask you during the interview. So a college student or recent graduate should start their resume with the header, go into the education section, then have your professional summary. Then you can have your class project section if that is something that you plan on including, and then you would go into your experience. After that, you would have your computer skills section. You would list any certifications that you have, if applicable, and then you can list any relevant organizations and clubs that you are part of. So for example, if you are a part of an accounting club, an investment club, or a finance club, you would include that there. If you're a career switcher, I would structure your resume differently. For career switchers specifically, you would not put your education at the top of your resume. A lot of times career switchers maybe graduated over a decade ago from college. So it is not what you want to lead with, because your experience at this point is going to be a lot more relevant to the job. So for a career switcher, I would start with your header, then your professional summary, then your experience, followed by your computer skills, certifications, and then your education. And then if you're someone that already has strong accounting experience, you should start your resume with your header and then go right into your experience. You do not need a professional summary. After your experience, you can include your computer skills, any certifications that you have, and your education last. So general rule of thumb, if you're a student or recent college graduate, lead with education. If you're a career switcher, lead with your professional summary and then go into your experience. And if you already have strong experience, just lead with your experience. If you would like one-on-one resume help, definitely check out the Career Starter program linked in my bio and the description of this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. The majority of my videos come directly from your comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.